All right, guys, we got the Kraton on the bench. I already got a prototype done. We already went through exactly how I did this. Here's what we're looking at. Looks very similar, but this is on the Kraton. And I already checked the gears. We got maximum slide out and a 35 mod 1 gear will fit. So looks like we just got to make it into metal. I still got to come up with a pattern. Let's see. Where in the heck? Oh, we ain't got no holes near nothing here. Where in the heck are we going to come off of? I'll figure something out. Good morning, guys. Came into a really nice print this morning. How about that for the 4990? So, I mean, it's pretty slam dunk from here because we got all the design work done on the sledge. But looking pretty sweet. And we're going to get this sucker made out of aluminum quick here. Hey guys, we're back in the lab at M2C Racing. We're working on the Arrma rear supports. Let's flip this camera over and check it out. Wanted to give a shout out to HRRC for sending me some cool stickers. Keep up the great work, bro. All right, here we go. Oh, I'm going to put this on my sticker wall. I'll do it off camera though. All right, so we got the first prototype off the machine right here. And she's looking good. Fitting up just like I want her to. Very nice. I got the spacing just right. That's all the way to the edge right there where the chassis bend is. And we're out past the motor support. So that will allow us to put, I don't know, some big old gear on there. I'll get it figured out and put it in the video. But want to give you guys an update, let you know what's going on. Here, let's put our new sticker on. I love stickers, just like y'all do. I can't do it with two hands. I can't do it with one hand. There we go. I had to put it on pause. Oh, bam. This wall doesn't take stickers very well. Kind of hard to do, but I'm trying to fill that whole wall up with stickers. So if you guys want to send me a sticker, I'll put it up there. We'll check back later. Moving right along on this. What's happening, guys? We're back in the lab at M2C Racing. As you can see, we've got the 4990 mounted up, okay? And we have got our new 3152 rear support bolted up. Everything's looking real good here. Now, I went into SolidWorks, and I forgot to put my engraving on. This is going to say 2 chassis on it. I just marked it with a C. So what we're going to do now is the only way, as you guys can see, now, if I can get this stuff out of the way, let's kick this up on its side. Now, as you can see, I got nothing to reference to back here. Remember on the on this car, I had stuff I could reference onto the back of this car because there's all kinds of holes. But the Kraton, this is a V5. Yeah, this is a V5 Kraton. Now, but on the Kraton, I got nothing. So what we're going to have to do, we're going to have to reference to the motor mount, okay? I'm going to have to remove this chassis brace, and then we're going to reference to the motor mount, and it's going to go, how is it going to go? It's going to go like that. I wonder if, no, I can get away without removing the chassis brace, but we are going to have to remove the motor mount. There ain't no getting around it. Is there something on my lens? Hold up. Is that better? I think so. I think my phone was dirty. I can't find an action cam to use that works inside because the LED lights have the certain frequency. So if anybody's got ideas on how to use an action cam inside or what kind of lights I can use to make it work, hit me up in the comments because I'd really love to be able to use an action cam and come from this angle for everything, you know, like with a head cam. So I'm going to put you guys up on the stand. We will, and we'll go through this together and hold tight. All right, we're up on the stand. Let's, so the first thing I want you guys to do always is grab a little mini torch. I don't think this one actually even works, to be honest with you. Grab a little mini torch and heat these screws up because especially the Arrma motor mount screws, it's got some safety thing on it. Safety, yay. All right, we're going to want to heat these motor mount screws up. Now mine aren't going to be very tight because, you know, I've probably put this prototype motor mount on here a couple of times and they don't have any hardware, but get yours good and hot. I just did that for example. There's non-English speaking countries out there probably having a ball with my southern accent. Be careful, fire is hot. I didn't get mine very hot. So we always want to take off minimal bolts. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna take this entire assembly off. So let's get, you're gonna need to take your top brace off on a B5. Shout out to Officer Matt for the awesome stand. Now I've already got this loosened up, but you can loosen this up and get to your brace screw just like that. Just a little fashion tip there. You can loosen that up and it'll go just like that. Make life easy. Now, okay. So, all right, so we'll take off our center brace. Put it off to the side. And this is our carbon fiber cover and ends for that center brace. M2C30, I want to say 1.4, maybe. I can't keep up with all of them, guys. Nobody's, well, maybe some people are that smart. I'm not one of them smart people that can keep up with hundreds of numbers. Okay, so, looks like I've already got my brace disconnected. We're going to pull out these 5 screws, and we should just be able to pull this entire assembly right off. I'm going to stay out of your way. I'll do it left-handed. We're going to stay out of your way today. All right, we got 2 more. I should be able to. Trying to stay out of your way. All right, now we should be able to just take this thing and lift straight up, and we'll take our front and rear drive shafts off. Put the motor mount down there. Keep your front and rear drive shafts. If you lay stuff out the way it goes back on the truck, makes life a whole lot easier. Okay, so now we're down to our chassis. Now, where do we go from here? Let's see. There's my C. That's going to be engraved to chassis, and it's going to go in those 2 holes. So we'll take a couple of motor mount screws and just put them right back in. I'll probably provide screws, or maybe not. I mean, keep costs low, right? Okay, so as you can see, I'll zoom in, of course, and these are going to line right up because I drew this layout on a chassis, and I got a pretty good idea of where we're supposed to be going because I've been playing with this thing. We've had it up on the stand for about a week now while we were making real parts. All right. Now this is the first one, so you guys are coming along with me. Y'all know how I like to do these little impromptu. Now, I mean, I can force this thing to move around a little bit if I want to, side to side. I can force this thing to move around a little, but I mean, it's pretty stable. And I knew you guys are going to be drilling this by hand, so I made these slots in all of these, including the ones for the S series. I made the slots 150. That means you got about 30 thou wiggle room if you miss on the hole, which happens. Okay, so now we're going to be, let's make sure we're looking right. I would call that good. We're going to call it good and keep on going. We will pretty sure this is in frame. So we're going to take the supplied drill, like we always do. We're going to pop a couple of holes in this stock chassis. All right. I think this is in frame. If it's not, hold on.
Drill a couple holes, guys. All right. So now we're going to flip it over.
All right, we got our 2 holes popped. So now we're going to flip it over. I like going over a trash can so it doesn't make a mess. All right, and we're going to take our center drill, a little center drill piece. You remember this from the S series, or maybe you don't because you don't have one of those cars. But what we're going to do is we're going to take, this is called a center drill, and it's got a little pilot on there. And we're going to carefully, very carefully, drill these holes out from the bottom side so the 3mm flathead screw will go below the surface of our chassis. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. We're going to drill very carefully, until we get it just right. There we go. We're going to stop. We're going to take a moment. I know what I'm looking for, but this might be your first time. Probably should have had a 5mm bolt out here. Here's one. So what we're looking for, guys, is we want that screw head to be below the surface. All right? That way when you scratch and do all that stuff, in case you don't have the M2C guard yet, the chassis brace yet, but when you got rocks and stuff going by here, it won't clip the top of your screw and make it so you can't get it out. So we're going to do that again very carefully. We're going to drill another hole. So, probably should have took my chassis brace off. It's a little tight right there. I'm just very carefully going down, because what you don't want to do is drill a hole in your chassis that the screw will pass through, that the head of the screw will pass through. That's what you don't want. As my daughter would say, yeah, you don't. That's one of our little inside jokes. All right, you can see I got my screw heads beneath the surface, and this is on a stock chassis, so it's fairly easy to drill. All right, so now we're going to go and remove our template. We're done with that. Yeah, it's super easy. Just use motor screws on that. That's one less thing we got to do. One less motion we got to make. Since you already have the screws, we won't need to include those. Now you're done with this, because one of these will come with every rear brace. So what we want to do now is let's get our motor mount back on. Don't forget to put your drive shafts in, or you ain't going nowhere. Now, these are dog bones, so they just slide right in just like they slid out. All right. So I'm going to put these in all the way on that side. And then we'll get this thing rotated over. And we'll kind of twist it on in, and it'll sit right down like that. So I'm going to get a screw ready. And then I'm going to very carefully come over here. I'm hoping you guys, I'm trying to stay out of you guys' way, so let's see how this ends up. So we'll come over here, we'll start a screw. Being a bad example, start your screws with a screwdriver. Don't do it with the gun, or you'll be sorry, because sooner or later you're going to strip a screw. Cross thread your motor mount. All kinds of bad stuff.
Stuff on there. Alright. And you might or might not want to put a little outside on all these screws. It's up to you. I definitely not recommend putting as much as they do at the factory on them. Alright, so get all those started. just cause I like to use a crisscross pattern and start from the middle and go out. Just have it. To run on cars. Alright, so I'm gonna give a
Sweatshirt off because it's hot on this side of my office, but we got our motor mount reinstalled. Sure ain't hot back there sitting at my desk. Tell you what, freezing my little booty off. We've had some really cold weather in South Carolina. I'm not a fan. Okay, so where are we at here? We're gonna do the 4990. The 5690 is gonna be the same process, just maybe some different gearing options on the. Now we are using the M2C motor mount, the ultimate motor mount, 34,000. You cannot install these rear plates without our 34,000 motor mount because our motor mount is raised up, and these are designed to work in that position. Okay, so we're gonna take our motor, we're gonna put our gear on it. Now this will go from, let's see. This is a 12, so this will mesh with a 12 and all the way out to a 35. You are going to want to put your gear on backwards, of course, just like you do with any other hobby wing installation. All right, and at 35 meshes, and we can still get a screw in. The way I got these screws set up, you could, I mean, in theory, you could probably go out here. But now with some huge crazy gear, which I haven't seen anybody use that kind of gear, but that's not to say somebody hadn't or somebody wouldn't. But you're going to run into the chassis bend where the mud guards get bent right here. This is about a 3 to 4 degree angle. Okay, so now, bam, just right. Looks like I've kicked off a little bit. I only left 5 thou clearance to the hobby wing motor, so make sure you get it set on there right. And that, my friends, looks really nice. Like I say, even a bad dog gets a bone once in a while. Now, what you are going to want to do is you're going to want to put your pins in. If you're using this is a V5 and a V5 upper setup, you're going to want to put your pin in this way. If you're using a 4990. I think it'd be fine depending on your gearing. You might have to grind the head of this or something, but I know on the 5690 we have a small cutout in the upper motor mount top plate. We have a small cutout to allow you to get the 5690 farther in, and I do know that 5690 it will hit this pin. So one thing you could do is come in backwards if you're going to use it, or grind the head of that pin. So let's put it in the normal way just for the example of this video. Let's see what that looks like with the 4990, since that's what we're working on. See, with the 4990 you got clearance, no big deal. 5690 you're getting pretty extreme, and you're going to need a little more room. So I'm going to say go ahead and get that put together, and you can use the perfect mesh system, which I have right here. I'm not going to use it in this video, although I probably should. Where is my brand new MIP 3mm driver? I just got it. Fresh. There it is. Ooh. Nice fresh MIP driver. We do sell these in our store. So if you want to get one when you're okay. A little too much coffee today. Okay, so let's get that screw started. Now we're just placing this on the back for now. I'm going to show you guys how this goes in. Super easy, nothing to it. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pick a gear somewhere reasonable. We'll throw. This is a 16. I think 16 is stock on these cars. Let's go with a 20, just for our example today. Let's go with a 20. We'll stick a 20 on there. Now you'll have another screw that you can put in. I'm just using one for the example here. And this is where I want to set my mesh. I'm just going to kind of kind of eyeball it. I'm just going to eyeball it for now. I'm going to get my mesh set. Alright, and then I would normally install my second screw to lock her down. Alright, now I'm out here in the middle with the 20. So now what I want to do is I'm going to put my block on top, and I'm going to kind of hold that in place. And then I'm going to install my two 3mm screws from the bottom. I'm going to start these by hand too, because I'm going to be a good example this time, guys. Okay, so I'm going to hold this with my hand like this, so it doesn't fall off. And I'm going to kick it up, and now I'm going to install my 3mm screw. I bet you that arm's in your way, huh? I'm going to install my 3mm screw. And then I'm going to install the other 3mm screw. You see these holes are 600 apart. As per the template, I'm going to get both of them started. There we go. Don't get it started crooked. Oh, sorry guys. Something's wrong. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Maybe something's up with that screw. I've got the letters pointing up. The engraving is pointed up. Maybe I started the screw crooked. Let's try a different screw. I start screws crooked too, guys. Nobody's perfect. What is going on here? Oh, I'm in a bind. I'm in a bind because I'm facing it the wrong way. Okay? So, this does face a certain way. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to face it the other way. I thought this was on center. So we're going to want the 1448. We're going to want it out like that. I wonder if I damaged that hole. I did. I did damage the beginning of that hole. No, that hole's off in my chassis. Something's wrong, guys. I'm gonna have to stop this video, check and see what's going on. I think this template is too weak and my holes got drilled off. Yeah, something happened, guys. We will we're gonna have to check it out and come back. So grab my calipers. Let's see. 466, 125, 130, 128. We'll call it 130. I mean, it's 470, so the distance between here is 0.6, and this is checking right. It checked right on the screen. All these were drilled and tapped to that. This is 540. And I think we have a problem with this part. That's 540. And that hole is 100. And that means the distance between those two holes is 640. supposed to be 600. So that's making me think that this is where we designed the original parts. This is the chassis we designed the original parts on. Let's get a dimension here, and what we'll do, what we'll do is we'll get a dimension here. We got 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch. So now we can take this thing down and we can say 0.765 minus the 1/8 inch. Oh, I think the 600 dimension is wrong, guys. 0.765 minus 0.125 is 0.640. So what happened here is I made my template wrong. For whatever reason, I thought that dimension was 600. So not only did I screw up my chassis, but I got to redo this too. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board for a little while and get us another template made just right, and we'll go from there. All right, fellas, you see that distance right there? That's from the previous chassis. I had it in my head that it was 600. It is not. As you can see, it's 640. So all I got to do is go back and make another template, and we'll get her done. And y'all are going to see me. I'm just going to manhandle the hole that's in that chassis and move it over some. So I got this one fixed up, and I guess I'll just get back to the install video because I was wrapping it up anyway. Alright guys, so I got that cleaned up, and of course I will go and do another chassis and double and triple check and make sure everything's copacetic. But I did make a mistake when I made this pattern, so this one's obviously junk. But we can finish up the installation just by placing this back on the truck, putting our block right there. We're going to start our screw by hand. Now you see, when I made that mistake, if I would have been starting that screw with one of these drivers, I would have destroyed my block, because it was kind of trying to do like this because I didn't have the hole space quite perfectly. So one more reason to always start your screws by hand. I make mistakes too, fellas. Hell, I make a lot of them. Because you know what? If you ain't making no mistakes, you ain't working hard enough. And that's fact, Jack. So, and normally we would install the second screw in our second hole, but I screwed that up, so we can't do it in this installation. But now, this thing is solid as a rock. I mean, my pinion fell off, but now your motor can be the handle for your truck. It's that solid. Very happy with this line of products that I've designed, and I think you will be too. And guys, so we're in the lab today at M2C Racing. You're going to love what I got on this bench. Check it out. It's the Kraton 6S V6 we're working on today. That is just such a good looking truck. I love it. Let's pop the lid and get to work, guys. Set this over here. Check this out. These are the new top braces that we hadn't released yet. Now, what we're doing today is we're putting our rear support on. Bam. Now, I've already got the MAXX G2 installed on this with the M2C crooked ESC plate. It has a crooked mounting for the MAXX as well as the straight mount. I had to make it crooked to avoid that little switch mount right there. So, I'm going to put you guys up on the bench, and then we're going to put this MAXX G2 combo in this truck, and we're going to put our new rear support on it. You guys are really going to love this. Hold tight. All right. Pretty sure we're in the middle of the frame. So, obviously, I've already got the M2C motor mount, ultimate motor mount, M2C 34000 installed. And we got these awesome new top braces installed. Now, these will be released probably next week. This will be released a week before the rear brace system that we're coming up with, because these are already made, and those are being made right now. So, now, let's pull these tires off. Just had them on there. I've already got a couple of things removed from this truck. Obviously, this is our shop truck. I've got the body mount removed. You'll need to probably remove one of the rear body mounts, okay, so that you can get in there. Now, I've already got the M2C shock tower support on. I don't have it screwed together for ease of use. I'm just going to flip that down. All right, and then we're going to pull this screw, which is why I had this body mount removed. We're going to pull that screw, and we're going to pull this screw, and then we're going to pull the side cover, because you got to do that and remove the motor mount anyway. So, but you'll be able to remove and install in the same manner, because our motor mount uses all the stock mounting points. So we can come in from this side. Now, we can pull that screw, and we can just set this up. Look how pretty that came out. Real nice. All right. Now, you may or may not have the M2C shock tower brace installed, but if you do, just remove your 2 bolts, and then remove this center bolt for this tower-to-tower brace. I really do love these new split tower braces that they came out on the EXB V2. Such a great idea to split that brace like that. All right, so now we got both of those. They're flopping freely in the wind. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to take out the bolts we need to take out. I'm going to move the stand back, and we're going to stand this sucker up like this. Looks like I lost a screw there. We're going to stand this sucker up like this. And use whatever you're going to use. I already have my side guard loose, but we pulled these 4 screws out for the side guard. Whoops. Sounds like I'm dropping some more stuff. Oh, I believe that came out of the side guard. Either way, we'll find it. Oh, looks like I wasn't very prepared for this video, doesn't it, guys? Alright, I'm going to pull off the other side guard. Okay, so, well, it's giving me some, being so floppy. Let's see if we can pull off the other side guard, which technically shouldn't be necessary. Oh, the battery tray's got it trapped. Okay, so what we're going to do is, now you're going to want to get a torch and heat up these bolts, okay? Now, I've already uninstalled the stock motor mount. I'm just doing this as an example. You'll want to do it until you can free your bolt up. You guys should have all the tools that you need to do this job if you've already been in the hobby a little while. If not, then I would recommend the MIP drivers, which we sell in our store. This is a 2.5 for these 5 bolts that we're going to remove, and a 2.0. Sometimes I have a 3 because I work on the larger scale models a lot more. I think we have these in our store as well. Not as common as the 2.5 and the 2. We also use these. And you're going to want to break those things loose before you use your driver, just to be safe. So the motor mount is what's holding this truck up right now. So I'm going to kind of kick it over, and I'm going to grab a hold of this thing. I'm probably going to drop it on camera. You guys can laugh at me. But what you're going to see is, great thing. One of the great things about Arrma is that they're so very modular. All right. I'm going to take this whole unit out with just a few screws. Now here's where I'm probably going to drop it. Let's see. Okay, so now we'll put it back up on the stand without dropping everything. Now we're just going to take this whole thing, as well as our center drive shafts. And I like to set stuff down the way it goes in the car. I didn't have a center drive shaft in here for whatever reason, but your center drive shaft is also a dog bone style, and they just slide right in with the motor mount removed. Okay, now like I said, we already put the M2C ESC plate in. So actually we're missing a few M2C parts on this one. We could have put that brace on and the rear center brace from here to here. But for clarity, we're just going to leave all that off for right now. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take our template, and this says 2 chassis on one side. Now I made this print bigger because I had a little more room, made it a little bit bigger and easier to see. This one didn't come out very good. This is the first one. But we've already done this on the S series, so I'm very confident in the design and testing. We really beat the crap out of it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of motor screws and we're going to screw them into this plastic. And these holes back here are going to give us the perfect template to drill off of. All right, we're going to put the 2 chassis side down. All right, throw it on the floor a couple of times and it should be just fine. All right, so hopefully you guys can see past my hand. And this is on a stock chassis, so we're going to come right back. We're back, fellas. Okay, so here's what I realized while trying to install this on the V6. My template is hanging over the side. So it's a couple days later. I was doing this video on Saturday and it was time to go. So it's a couple days later. We're back. We're going to pick up right at the point where we get rid of this template and we install this template. As you can see, I made a set of holes for the stock chassis and a set of holes for the M2C chassis, because you see this cut on your V6 chassis is much thinner back here. Not sure why they did that, but you see how nicely it lines up with the sidecar and how pretty that is? That's probably something to do with it. Anyway, the V5 chassis is going to be wider. I will put some lettering here to tell you which one uses the M2C chassis bolts and which one uses the stock chassis bolts. So, but for now, let's get it installed. Pick right back up where we left off. Oops. And it does say 2 chassis on one side of this. And that's the side that obviously goes to the chassis. Now, as always, we're going to start all our screws that we're going to use. Only 2 in this case. I don't want to break the plastic. It's just a little printed piece. Alright. So now, if you're on your stock chassis, you're going to see that the inside set of holes, and like I said, these will be marked on here. It'll say stock chassis side, and it'll have a little pointer here. Got to figure out how to do that because the part's kind of small, and printing doesn't look really good on 3D printed parts. You know, it's text. And this is going to be for the M2C chassis. You are going to be limited on your gearing, and we'll find that out right here in a minute. I'll of course have that on the listing, but you will be limited on your gearing if you're on a stock chassis because you got this real thin area back here. So we're going to take this. I don't know if I'm going to be in frame, but I'm going to take this. I'm going to take my drill bit, and I'm going to drill through this template into the chassis. Now it's kind of long, so I'm going to guide it with my thumb. You know, don't get your thumb, don't drill a hole in your thumb. Wear your safety glasses. All right, we're going to drill the inside pattern. Here we go. Hole 2. Now there is some wiggle room in here, so if you get all sideways and crazy and move the template and all that stuff, don't freak out too bad. It's going to be all right. Okay. Now you can see we got 2 holes drilled through. Now we're going to take our special center drill. We're going to take our special center drill and we're going to create a chamfer for our flathead bolt to sit in. Okay, this is a 90-degree. Metric bolts are 90 degrees, and this is a special center drill that's 90 degrees. And these got real expensive with the tariffs, so now we cut them in half. You may get one that's not double-sided and not cut in half. Whatever we have in stock is what we're sending out. Okay, so now we're going to very carefully countersink these holes into the chassis. If you don't do this carefully and drill through your chassis, you're not going to be happy with this product. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit at a time. I hope I'm in frame here, guys. All right, we're going to stick our 3mm bolt head in there and make sure that it's deep enough. All right. Now that one's not quite deep enough because it's still not inside the bolt head's not lower than the chassis. That's what you want. Now if your drill chatters a little like mine just did and creates some lines there, don't worry about that, because what that's going to do is help your screw head hold better, actually, believe it or not. Because it'll give it something to dig in. Okay? So now I'm going to do the other one. Super nice and easy. I like to do this over a trash can, so I don't like to get my table all messed up. Why make a mess if you don't have to, right? Do it over the trash can and not have a mess. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove my template. Now you see how we got these holes, and you see how our screw is under the chassis, so that it won't get all scraped up. Now you got to be real careful. I put it just below. All right, you got to be real careful on this 3mm chassis. You ain't got as much room as you do on the M2C chassis. I recommend going deeper on the M2C chassis and getting a good countersink on that bolt. All right, so now we're done with the drill. Put that away and save it. Put the included drill bit away and save it. Now we're going to remove our template from our motor mount screws. And we'll just use our motor mount screws for that. Nice and easy, right? Okay, we're not going to dispose of this yet, because later on you're gonna have this big old combo on here. You're going to want to upgrade to an M2C chassis, because you can use our chassis skid plate brace, get a little bit more life out of this thing, but eventually you're gonna want to get an M2C chassis if you're doing any real hard bashing. Okay, so we still got this sucker. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to assemble our rear support. Now we're gonna go with the 4990 on this stock chassis. You can put the 5690 on it. I mean, whatever you want to do, it's up to you. We're going to find out what gearing, but I'd say on a stock chassis, I don't know. I mean, realistically, you could go either way, to be quite honest with you, because I mean, you're going to upgrade later anyway. Why not go big? Totally up to you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to grab my hand driver, and I'm going to start these two screws by hand, and we're going to screw this block, which has slots in it, to the back of our motor plate here. All right. Now, this will only go on one way. That makes sense. I would prefer to use it this way. That way the part number is facing up. You normally want your part number facing up. On my stuff, I try to make it so the part number faces up, so it's easy to identify if you ever, I don't know why you would ever crash that. But let's get these started by hand. These are short screws. Why not just go ahead and run them in by hand, right? You might want to put some Loctite on these. I mean, if you want to, it's up to you. I don't know if it's ever going to come loose. It's not a real, maybe. Yeah, probably some blue Loctite would be a good idea. Why not, right? Just remember to heat it up if you need to take it off. Make your life a whole lot easier. So we got our plate in, we got our slider block installed on our support block. Okay, now we're going to take this entire motor mount assembly, right? Now I don't have the rear shaft for this truck here for whatever reason, but we're going to install. It can be a little tricky to install this. So I'm going to get up here and I'm going to stick this through and I'm going to get it right there. The front one's a little tricky. The rear one's real straightforward. Okay, and then you're just going to tilt your drive shafts up. Okay, if you wanted, and then hold it like that. Get this up out of your way. Then you put your rear drive shaft in and insert it into your rear cup, and then you can go ahead and drop these into their slots. Actually, this would be where we would install our rear brace. Do we have one? No, I don't see one out here. So this would be where you would install your rear brace. After we get the motor mount, you can install your rear brace or you can install it afterwards. Just make sure you do it before you put this on. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to go back up. And we're also going to start these motor mount screws by hand because I don't want to be a bad example and have you guys stripping out your motor mounts. That ain't cool. Now you're definitely going to want some blue Loctite on your motor mount screws. So let's stand this sucker up. Let's hold that motor mount down. And let's get a screw started. Try not to be in you guys' way. That's going to be, they're all the same length. Nothing to see here. We're going to start all these screws with our hand driver because we don't want to strip these holes. I'll just start them by hand, whatever. However you want to do it, but I just recommend not doing it. I recommend not doing it with a electric screwdriver. Because sooner or later, it's going to get you. It's going to bite you. Especially if you're installing all this stuff brand new. Now I can let it go and kind of work with two hands. Right? I wonder why this doesn't have my M2C monster rear brace on it. I wish I would have had the fourth one of that. But I am getting better at these videos, or at least I certainly hope I am. Trying to stay out of you guys' way. Probably right in your way, naturally. I love these DeWalt drivers. All right, now I'm going to go back and tighten all those up by hand, about how tight I think they should be. All right, and now this would be a good time to install my rear chassis brace. Okay. I should go grab one. I should put you guys on pause and go grab one of those. Now, depending on how used your truck is, you may end up flexing. It won't flex now, but you may end up, flexing your tower in there because we've got a lot of parts in between the chassis and that brace. So be aware of that. Okay, so now I probably dropped the screw out of the front one because it came in from that way. What'd I do with that screw? My luck, it fell in that box back there. Anyway, we're going to finish the installation on the part that we're concerned with right now. Okay, so now that we got everything, now that we got that installed, we can put our M2C rear tower brace on. So I wanted to clip in here and show you guys that yes, the motor does clear the ESC in the crooked position. But what I want to show you guys is why I had it in the straight position. So hold tight. So as you can see here, I've got our 12 gear on. You see I got plenty of room right there. No problems, right? Now, when I put my 18 gear on, I had to use an adapter, and it's a bigger, fatter gear. So if you're going to run the gear with an adapter, you're going to have to turn it around on the shaft, and I don't recommend doing that. I would recommend buying the right gear for your motor. But hold tight, and I'm going to show you what I was doing and why I said to turn the ESC to the straight position and trim your side cover. Hold tight. So if you're using a gear like this, which I strongly recommend against, you're going to have to put the ESC in the straight position, because as you can see, the gear is too big and it's going to hit the ESC. All right, so that's what I was talking about in the video. But I needed to use an 18 gear because an 18 gear is our maximum position to line up with our holes here. So please take that into consideration when you're looking at our ESC plate and this rear support. Okay, so I had to make a few adjustments. We're ready. I had to move the ESC to the straight position. Okay, which requires you, I mean, this switch is not going to mount to these two screw holes anyway. So it's going to require you to trim your side cover here in order to use MAXX 6 combo and the new rear brace. So where we're at is we've already installed our slider block onto our rear brace. Now, the maximum you're going to be able to run on the stock chassis is going to be an 18 tooth from 12 to 18T. I only have an 8mm, and I had to try a couple of gears to get to work. So now you do have plenty of room. As you can see, you have plenty of room once you turn the ESC straight. Okay, but being kicked over on the angle, you're getting pretty close with the MAXX 6. And just to be safe, turn your ESC to the straight position on the M2C mounting plate. That's going to be 3039. Okay, so next we're going to, while everything's nice and loose, we're going to install our plate on loosely. Okay, and then we're going to put one screw in the slide, and we're not going to tighten it down. We're going to tighten it down, and we're going to back off just a touch to where the motor will just barely slide. If you've got my motor mount, you already have probably done this. Now we're going to put the M2C Perfect mesh adjuster on it. Oh, looks like I got that adjusted. And this is going to click down in here. I'm going to struggle a little bit since I'm on camera. So I'm going to get right above that. And then I'm going to press down. Once I get above my bolt, I'm going to press down so that clicks into place. And then, let's try to do this left-handed. We're going to get our mesh set just like we want it. I'm going to run it all the way up until it's all the way on it. I'm going to back it off just ever so slightly until I get that perfect mesh that I'm looking for, which I'm going to say is right there. So now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to tighten down this screw. I'm going to remove the perfect mesh adjuster. I'm going to put the second screw in. The head of this screw is a little bit deformed, so it's kind of being hard to get this perfectly made MIP wrench in there. All right, so we're going to spin that down. Now our mesh is set. We can lock it down. Oh yeah, that's just right. Okay, now that we got our motor installed, the mesh is set. Excuse me, we'll have to plug in our wires, of course. Right now, we're just going to leave those laying to the side. Now, we're going to install the block, the locking block, on top of the slide, on top of the motor support slide, which is super simple using the holes we drilled. All right, I'm just going to kick it up on the stand. I'm going to hold it with my finger. I'm going to get a screw started. And I'm going to use my MIP driver to get my screw started. Hopefully my hand isn't in your way. So it's only 2 screws. It's not going to hurt a thing to do this by hand. You know, make life easy on yourself. Okay, I'm going to get the other one started. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. And all we got to do at this point is just lock it down. You might want to put a little blue Loctite on there. Ain't gonna hurt nothing. I don't think it's going anywhere though. Oh, I just moved my camera. Let me make sure I'm still in focus, because we are almost done. Let's see. Yeah, I'm still good. Okay, and there is your completed installation. As I said, I strongly recommend, because when the ESC is moved this way on that tilt, you see how close that'll get if you got a big old gear on there. Now, it will clear if your gear doesn't stick out past the end of the motor shaft, okay? Because normally you'd have a gear like this on there, but I didn't have an 18. And it's got a little shank, and it goes up inside the slide, and you tighten it up through the slide, and it sits down deeper, even with the motor shaft. But I'm still going to recommend to use it straight. You can use it sideways as long as everything clears and nothing's touching. But that's our completed installation. Your motor is now your handle for your car. That sucker ain't going nowhere. Done data. As I stated before, once you go to the M2C chassis, you'll be able to get out to a 35 tooth pinion, and you'll still be able to get down to a 12. So that's our installation. That's our new product. We have it for the 5690 as well. That's the separate part number. Do not throw this away, because you're going to need it when you bend your chassis and upgrade to an M2C chassis. All right. Thanks so much for joining me, guys, and we hope you love our products. Always more coming. Bam. Oh, yeah. Now that's just sexy. So come on down to www.m2cracing.net and check out this and plenty of other awesome products for your RC cars.